You don't give a fuck when you land or not, just let him go. Don't worry about you, you're gonna be a shitty fight, but you gotta let punches go.
Last round.
You can't wait until they get, if you miss it, bang, go right back. And don't take 30 seconds to start another punch.
Alexander, I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody like me. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey, there's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw, there's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable.
Look at that combination. And the turn.
I kept telling him he had no punch, he couldn't hit, he's swinging like a sissy, he's missing, let me see your bumps. I hadn't started dancing yet. A tremendous sensational first round, and Hearns gets hurt. Hearns got stunned. Hackle was stunned early in the round. Great first round. Incredible. Perhaps one of the best in middleweight history.
That black guy, he hits hard.
Fire!
What's going on, my boxing people? It's another episode of Hands of Fire Boxing Talk. I'm your host, Georgie Dampierre with RealCombatMedia.com. It's fight week, ladies and gentlemen. Triple G, Brook. Biggest fight, at least, what would you say this is the biggest fight of the month? Canelo versus Liam Smith looking like maybe a bit of a sleeper, maybe better than we anticipated. But it's a big night of fights this Saturday. Along with the English cards that I'll do a rundown on a little bit. But here in the States, we have Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez going for a 4th Division world title against Carlos Cuadras. A lot of people unsure if he's going to be able to do it. And also before that card will be Jesus Soto-Karass versus Yoshiro Kamegai in their rematch. That was a split decision draw last time around. So, like I said, it's a big night of fights, and a lot of fights. Man, it's definitely making up for the drought that we had in the past 2 weeks. So it's great news. So, like I said, there's undercards in the UK. Won't be reviewing these. Like I said, I'll be just reviewing the United States cards here. They'll be playing on HBO. However, there's really not anything too noteworthy. I guess maybe just because I don't really know too much about these guys other than Caleb Smith and Connor Benn. He's also featured on this undercard. Pretty exciting young prospect, even though we have no idea who the hell he's fighting. So I saw the name next to it and it was very forgettable. So I didn't even mention it. But like I said, on these US or UK undercards will feature Lee Haskins versus Stuart Hall for the IBF Bantamweight Championship. John Rael Casemiro versus Charles Edwards of the IBF for the IBF Flyweight Championship. Martin J. Edward versus Andy Townsend, just a 10-round bout. And Caleb Smith versus Norbert Nemespati. I wonder if that's pronounced. I'd like to see hear how that's pronounced. But that is also for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship title. And like I mentioned before, Connor Benn will be on the undercard. I believe this is only his third or fourth bout. Kind of surprising to learn that after his past feature on the Chris Eubank Jr. Card, where he had also scored a serious knockout, where the man was pretty much laying there for a good amount of time. I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes. It was almost a little worrying to see if he was able to get up, but he did. Looked impressive. I like him. I think, he's very green. There's a lot of things he can do to polish up his style. Of course, we mentioned before on prior podcasts, if you don't know who Connor Benn is, this is the son of famous British world champion Nigel Benn, and who fights with the same tenacity. It's pretty cool. And but like I said, he has a lot of things he needs to work on. One being not to back straight up after his combinations. He's very vulnerable in that regard. But let's get into it, man, because this is going to be a long show. Well, not, I want to say it's going to be a long show. I don't have it's regular timed, but a substantive podcast. So let's jump right into it. Soto-Karass versus Yoshiro Kamegai 2. Like I mentioned before, these two fought to a draw on April 15th. The rounds were very hard to tell really who won, but it seemed well, let me just lay out the background for it. It was most of these rounds highly competitive. One fighter would win, the beginning of the round, and suddenly there'd be a change within the last minute, which would kind of make you wonder if who really won the round. But what made this really hard to judge was the fact that it was a matter of who was really controlling it. Between this, a lot of guys were. Well, let me not get into that part. Let me just finish the whole background of it. But this was, of course, is a slugfest, which always seems to suit Karass, and it was pretty much right up his alley. And what really didn't help Kamegai in this fight was that he did fade a little bit in the middle to late, but picked it back up for I'd say at least the last two rounds, and the card ended up being scored. The cards ended up reading with 97-93 for Kamegai, 95-95 Edward Hernandez, and 96-94 for Karass. So there'll be a split draw. Roel Kaiz scored the 97-93, and a lot of the people that were ringside saw Kamegai winning this. Now, with everything I just mentioned before, the thing I was gonna make note of before I was gonna talk about finishing the background of the fight is that while it seemed that the fighting style fit Karass, it was Kamegai who was really pretty much the overall better fighter, and in that way, that would be the way for at least how I was watching it, of how to judge it. He had the better movement. He was definitely had a better speed, and while it didn't mean much, his head movement would get him out of trouble once in a while. But definitely was still getting hit. And like I said, when he was getting gassed, he was definitely more vulnerable. And toward the end of every round, he would have his elbows and his his elbows toward the up in the air. How in the way that guys would do to get better air to their lungs. So he was definitely gassed. And in this fight, I would expect him to try to work on his conditioning, and really had that been the case, I think he would have had a better control of the fight, or at least more success, should I say, into winning this fight. So that being said, my prediction for this fight is pretty much just the same way of the first one, just with Kamegai making adjustments that he didn't do in this first fight, which was, like I said, conditioning. If he can do that, while it'll still be a war, he'll still get tagged. He'll be able to withstand his success and pressure throughout the fight and win. So that's how I have it. Kamegai. I don't want to say a knockout, because these guys can definitely take a punch. But I'll say Kamegai with a split to unanimous decision. Also on this card, we have Roman Gonzalez versus Carlos Cuadras, who will be pretty much this is a big fight for Gonzalez, and most boxing fans, I think, I already acknowledge this. Roman Chocolatito, of course, is pretty much renowned to be the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. For some, it might be Andre Ward, but it's still really up in the air. But with of course, with the upcoming fights, this one included, and Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, it's definitely getting thin at the top. So it's really all these are both really big fights in those aspects. Roman Chocolatito really fulfilling the pound-for-pound name, which is, at least by my definition, if your style is good enough to carry you up regardless of weight class. Is it applicable through weight? Meaning you're not just benefiting of your size or some type of physical ability. Andre Ward, doing it in by different terms by fighting another high-level pound-for-pound fighter, which it in another way can definitely seal you as number one. So I really feel like this is just a matter of taste, and preference. So I don't know. I guess it's a matter of performance on top of that too. So we'll have to see how this whole thing pans out. But back to the fight. Roman Chocolatito moving up to 115 pounds to challenge the 115-pound champion, WBC, Carlos Cuadras. Now, what's making this a very intriguing fight is, of course, Cuadras being a WBC champion, but on top of that it's his style that's having many experts, journalists, fans considering that this could be a loss for Chocolatito. A friend of mine who was supposed to be on this podcast, but just couldn't really work out a good time to really be on, was stating how it's when Chocolatito leans in with his high guard, which pretty much makes him really easy to get hit down the middle or up the middle, depending on how you want to throw, is what's going to give him trouble here. And I see exactly what he's talking about, which Chocolatito I think really does toward the third rounds and up. I think he does that as a way of, and it's a way of exhaustion. I think I want to say exhaustion, but you're definitely feeling the fight. And it's also a way to, I guess, try to time his way to come in. He kind of does it like in a rocking motion, on the back foot to the front, high guard, on side of the head, and tend to throw off being off that lead. And it's there that he thinks that Cuadras can either land something to throw him off his rhythm, or land some definitely powerful shots. But here's the thing. I'm kind of a sucker for passion and emotion of a fighter, on when they can recognize what's a big moment for them in their career. And considering Roman Gonzalez's background, for those you don't know, he was mentored by the great Nicaraguan, his country-mate, compatriot, Alexis Arguello, who was, like I said, he was a legend, and one of his failures in his career was the fact that he wasn't able to go 4 divisions, who he would unfortunately lose to Aaron Pryor, and still remains to be questionable off the special mixed corner drink by Panama Lewis. So it still remains in the clouds of what exactly conspired there, but that's here nor there. And I'm not trying to freestyle, but that did sound kind of good on the mic. Check it. But anyways, like I said, this is gonna be a big deal for Gonzalez. And he, like Golovkin, which is, again, this is about the fourth time where they're not, this time they're not officially on the, or at least he's opening for Golovkin, since they're obviously taking fights in different locations. But they're being featured together on HBO, where just like Golovkin, is not much of a talker, but, who's really amped up on, how could I say, expressing themselves in the ring. He's, and I feel that way, that he's so quiet that he's going to have so much to say in this fight. And on top of that, he's, where people are saying that one of his problems is going to be is that he's not going to be able to move Cuadras the way he did at 112. And, that his power and his endurance is not going to be able to phase a bigger guy. While I would agree with that in any other term, or with any other fighter, it's what makes Gonzalez special is his extended combinations, and the fact that when you think that the 3 or the 4 are done, there's still more that's piling on top of you, and the leverage that he can get on it that's what's really will wear you down. He's not really like a one punch knockout artist. It's the full fight that ends up getting to you. And I think, with him training in Big Bear with Golovkin, the endurance that he's going to be able to express in this fight, I think will definitely help him. And on top of that, Cuadras, while he, yes, is a bigger fighter, and while another thing about Cuadras is he's a very versatile fighter, which I think that is what other people are seeing in this fight, fights off the back foot often, I think. And I would think in this fight, considering how Chocolatito fights, he would also be on the back foot here. But he can also fight going forward too, and I think that's when it'll definitely get exciting. This is by far, even though I haven't made my prediction yet, but that's what's definitely going to make this fight exciting is when Cuadras gets off the back foot, and I think he will toward the middle rounds when he sees that he's not really going to be doing that well off the back foot, and then we'll have the fight, and it's a matter of then we'll really see how good the defense of Chocolatito is. But for me, I think that he will be able to hold it up. Definitely the toughest fight we'll see for Chocolatito Gonzalez. But the heart will definitely be there. He knows that with Arguello on the mind, I think he'll do everything he possibly can to win this fight. And with that being said, I think that Chocolatito wins this bout by a split or majority decision, and in a great fight. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And yeah, I don't know. I think he'll carry the weight well. He won't really be too sluggish or anything for it. Not that speed was definitely his biggest suit, but oh well. All right, and now to the main event, which will actually be taking place first on the day, because this will be in England at the O2 Arena in London, which, damn, man, I would love to be at this fight, man. I mean, given the circumstances, at first I was calling this a shit fight. It was a shit choice on paper. But considering who Kell Brook or what Kell Brook is as a welterweight, who probably won't be fighting at welterweight after this. I think he said that himself at the press conference earlier today. It it's becoming more interesting by the day, leading up to fight day. But that isn't that what kind of always happens, right? We shit on the fight when it's announced. Then through the build up, it becomes a little bit more interesting. And then we're like, oh wait, he might be able to do it. And fight night happens, and they're like, oh, he didn't do it. But it's it's looking a little bit more favorably. Not in terms of a win for me. I mean, there's loads of Golovkin haters out there that are saying, Kell Brook is definitely going to show. Or he's definitely going to expose Triple G. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're, like, pull your sleeves down. Like, you're showing your swastikas or what. I don't know, like, whatever it is. Like, your hater tattoo is showing. Cover that shit up. Like, that shit's kind of ridiculous. Like, I would think through this fight, obviously, Triple G is the stronger guy, maintaining the 160-pound weight, and especially like I was mentioning before with my boy Chris Alexander, who was over in Big Bear during the media workout day with Golovkin. That dude looks strong, man. And I think he was only like 162 pounds at that point. 163, whatever. But, he definitely, he holds the weight well, and it's nice and balanced. It's not like, he's not too top heavy. He's not too bottom heavy, which it seems that, Kell Brook was a bigger guy. It seemed that he was more bigger toward, like his bottom half. Like his legs were fucking jacked. And like it didn't really, it's not really balanced out. But Golovkin, it's definitely balanced out very well. And on top of that, he still looks kind of even like, and with that being said, he still looks kind of like, he looked like he could carry baby cattle. But yeah, man, the strength is definitely going to be in the favor of Golovkin. And while Kell Brook maybe can hold the size well, or maybe he balloons back up, I think all it really does is maybe prolong the inevitable. I had this bout about going to 6 to 7 rounds with a stoppage, not an actual knockout. Because I think Kell Brook will, definitely want to hang in strong and definitely have the heart of the champion. And I'll see it just being stopped. But, let me actually talk about how the actual fight could possibly pan out. And maybe a way for Kell Brook actually to see a way to victory, if that's possible. Let's talk about that then. Before I talk about actually what I see happening. For Brook, his advantage into this fight is that while we talked about how bad this is as a fight, overall I think we can agree that, with that being said, he's still the best fighter that Golovkin has faced, right? And that's based off his talent and fighting ability. So why not use that to your advantage? He's not your typical, fighter out of England, which by that I mean kind of a more rough and tumble fighter. But while on top of that, he is strong, but he has boxing ability, and which kind of seemed like has been his edge. And I would think that he would use that. And what he showed in the Sean Porter fight is with a guy who's bringing pressure, he can use his inside fighting skills on top of that too. So, and it looks like what he's going to be trying to do is fight on the inside. While that's very dangerous, it's still yet to be seen how exactly Golovkin fights on the inside. We usually see him fighting at a range where he's landing his punches. Not necessarily an inside fighter, but and he doesn't allow you to tie up that well either. So that's what Kell Brook is also going to have to assure that when he gets into position. And let's just be honest here, holding is just a good way to defend when you've landed your punch already and you're trying to enable your opponent from landing. And while it's, you don't like it, a lot of fighters use it, and Kell Brook is one of those guys that uses it pretty well. And I would think that he would try to use that to pretty much, as long as he can go further, the further through the fight that he can get, the better. And as long as he doesn't take anything serious, which is asking a lot. I mean, just offering this advice, I feel like it's it's like, easier said than done. But he can find a way for him to land his punches. And, while being on the back foot never served as a reason to really give Golovkin problems, I would think if he can do it effectively, like with a good mix of in and out fighting, he could have some good success. And, try to be very active. Because once you give Golovkin a rhythm to go, he will just set the tone and won't allow you to do anything. So he needs to be very active. He needs to throw a lot of punches. And, and maybe throughout the fight, he can, put some more mustard on his shots toward the later rounds when things maybe slow down. And who knows, maybe he can pull off pull it off, stop the knockout streak, and save face by a decision loss or a split decision upset. Who knows? I know that whole process sounds like it was reaching like a motherfucker, like reach like the Oral-B toothbrush. But hey, man, for him to win, that's I know it's asking a lot. That's why I feel bad even offering the advice, because it almost sounds undoable. But that's what you're gonna have to do. But is that how it's gonna happen? Maybe. I say a fraction of that how it works out. Like I said before, Kell Brook has great boxing ability. So let's say that he does that and does pretty well, holds up fine through about the third, fourth round. He's going to try to mix it up, but it's around round 5 where I think he'll feel the power. And it's at that moment is where we'll see how this fight really unfolds. Because it's a matter of, oh shit, I've never felt power like this before. And then a sense of a panic on how to really do. And just the game plan just goes completely out the window. And that's pretty much how it usually goes. So it's a matter of, is he surviving? Is he smart enough to still stay around? At the most, like I said, if the 5th round is when they feel the power, and considering if Golovkin's in the mood, you could get him out in the very next round. But, it's damn. Given like how he feels through the fight, man, if he wants to carry him, he definitely will. So if it doesn't go in 6 or 7, it'll definitely be over by the 8th. But I don't want that to, like for the sake of competition, I'd hope this fight goes as long as it possibly can. But I still want that knockout, though. I mean, I don't want, while I'm hoping for a competitive fight, I still want to be right. Damn, that's another bar. Yo, somebody give me a beat. Oh, no, we got another 20-some seconds till that comes? All right, whatever. But, yeah, man, it's, that's pretty much how I see the fight taking place. And like I said, while a lot of us know how the fight is probably going to end up happening, the event nonetheless is still a spectacle in itself. Like I was talking before, how dope it would be in the O2 Arena, knowing how passionate the English fans are with their just British fans are with their boxing. And once that Seven Nation Army hit, man, it's going to be lit. Can't wait to go. Or one day I'll probably be there by the end of the year, but shit will be over with by now. But then again, this could be the first of, I don't say many, but this might be another stop for Golovkin in the O2 Arena, or just England, Wembley, who knows. Considering that he can get a scrap with Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, while the fallout of Chris Eubank Jr. was kind of disappointing, but we all knew how that fight was going to turn out. I mean, I even made a podcast way back about how, Golovkin would fucking crush Eubank Jr. And a lot of people do. I mean, they're the only people that, like I said, and with this Brook breakdown, the only people that think that, Junior would give Golovkin problems are the people that are just Golovkin haters. Oh, he's going to expose Triple G. Fuck out of here, man. I get it. This is not a really great fight to see, and people are wanting to see Golovkin test himself. Well, just as Triple G fans are too. But that doesn't take away from how good Triple G definitely is. You could just see it. What he has on display. He's definitely a great fighter. One of the pound for pound top fighters. And with that being said, a lot of pound for pound fighters are untested on top of that. So questioning his rank on there, you can do that. But there's quite a few guys on that top 10 that you're wondering if they even belong there, or if they even fought anybody. Shit, people are saying that about Chocolatito. It's because they don't follow the lighter fighters. It doesn't take away from what the hell he's doing down there. This guy's going for his fourth division title. So this is definitely going to be a great weekend, Saturday of fights, man. This shit's going to be loaded. Unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, I'm going to be at a beer fest, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to even watch the Golovkin fight live. I'm going to try to find a way to just tail off and try to stream it through my phone, but yeah, it's going to be fights top to bottom. I'm going to imagine the UK cards are going to start around 2, and they'll be on all night, man. So, Code of the Streets is playing as our outro today, and rest in peace to Gangstar Guru. But yeah, man, that's it. That's been the prediction show. Like I said, I was supposed to have a guest on here. Just things didn't pan out that way. But listen up next week. I might have some more content available for you guys. So comment, let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys are amped up for this fight just as much as I am. All right, peace.